Let the now have a read from the Holy Quran of more scientific divinely prepared by the noble prophet Drew Ali. By the guidance of his Father God, Allah, the great God of the universe, to redeem man from the sinful and fallen stage of humanity back to the highest plane of life of his Father God, Allah. Before I begin with this speech, let me first declare my intentions. If any mistakes are made, they're not on our prophet, on our temple, and surely not on Allah, because Allah alone is perfect. I'm going to read from page 3, Know thyself and thy Father God, Allah. It reads, Dear readers, do not falsely use these lessons. They are for good, peace, and happiness for all those that love Jesus. And to read from the chapter 4 this week, it's a short chapter, so I'm going to read the chapter in its entirety. Chapter 24, the obedience of children toward their father. From the secrets of Allah, let man learn wisdom and apply to himself the instructions they give. Go to the desert, my son, observe the young stork of the wilderness. Let him speak to thy heart. He beareth on his wing his aged sire. He lodgeth him in safety, supplieth him with food. The piety of a child is sweeter than an incense of Persia offering to the sun. Yea, more delicious than the oldest weight from a field of Arabian spices of the western gales. Be grateful to thy father, for he gave thee life, and to thy mother, for she sustained thee. Hear the words of his mouth, for they are spoken for thy good. Give ear to his admonition, for it proceeded from love. He hath watched for thy welfare. He hath toiled for thy ease. Do honor therefore to his age, and let not his gray hairs be treated with irreverence. Forget not thy helpless infancy, nor the forwardness of thy youth, and indulge the infirmities of thy aged parents. Assist and support them in the decline of life. So shall their hoary heads go down to the grave in peace, and thy own children, in reverence of thy example, shall repay thy piety with forever love. Islam officially declared his Friday Holy Day meeting open. Welcome, boys. How's everyone feeling this evening? All praise be to Allah. All praise be to Allah. This chapter here is a very, very good chapter, especially when it comes to in terms of one way of looking at the chapter, our prophet, the establishment of this Moorish nation. Our prophet is the founder. He is the father of this Moorish nation. Well, however, we also will learn in going through this chapter also that at the end of the chapter, one of the end of the verses that I read, it talks about an example. It talks about the example being set by actions. You know, that when the children see the example of how you treat your parents, they will in turn, the ideal is that they will in turn pick up on that. That is how it's supposed to be. And they do the same when you are in the decline of your life. But the key thing that I want to pull out of that verse is the example. The prophet throughout his teachings is always telling us about being the message that we bring. And one part of it is to speak it, is to share it, is to teach it. The other part, the most effective part, is being it. Because when someone can see you being the message that you bring, that what you say that you believe in, and see it working in your life, they will be more inclined to follow. Right. That is the greatest teaching mechanism is to be. And sometimes the manifestation of the lesson being taught doesn't happen right away. In this chapter, we're talking about the process or the cycle of life. Over the course of a lifetime, you begin to, in the early chapters, we learn how to be a man and how to be a husband. We learn how to be a woman and how to be a wife. We learn these lessons so we become the example for the children to learn. And as they grow, the ideal is that the lessons become a reality in our nation. And that this is the way that we would treat our parents. The prophet Noble Drew Ali teaches us that to honor thy father and thy mother, that thy days may be long upon the earth land, which the Lord thy God Allah hath given thee. Honoring comes in a lot of ways. We learn one of them in this chapter. Honoring them also is in carrying on the traditions, the customs, and those things in which they teach us to pass on to our children, which extends our longevity here on earth. The prophet Noble Drew Ali had to reconnect us to our foreparents so that we can continue the lineage or continue the line of that divine creed that had been taught by our ancient forefathers. So he had to reconnect us to our ancient forefathers so that we can plug back into that force, into that power, so that we can carry it on to future generations. And if we carry it out and we pass it on, then we will continue to live on, and we will continue to build towards the ultimate goal. That's the vision. But we have to be it. It's about the example. It's about living the example. That's the big part. That's the part that takes work each day. Sometimes we fall short. We identify that we fall short. We humble ourselves. We get back up. We try it again. We don't beat one another up for falling short. If we can see our brother or our sister may be falling short, and we have established that friendship among each other, that we can say to each other, there's a lot more you got to tighten up on that. You know, so that we can get strong in that area. Because it's a collective effort that's going to take us all. It's going to take us all. It's not the responsibility of one person. One person is not going to pull this off. It's not going to happen. Everybody has to play their part. So as I examine myself, speaking personally, as I examine myself and see where it is that I'm falling short at, then I tell myself, you have to pick that up. See, I'll go through spells of time when I'll get involved in business. I work a full-time job. I'll get involved in my business, and I'll say, okay, well, somebody be there to open up the meeting, right? But the fact of the matter is that when it's not, I'm responsible. So I'm flagging in my job. So then I have to say to myself, Turner L, you got to step it up. You got to cut it off in time enough so that you can be to the meeting. Because I know how the lower self works. See, when things is not always going the way that we think they should go, the lower self will start speaking to you.
Yes, sir.
You know, and if you're not still, and you're going all about and you're thinking, you won't be able to distinguish what voice is speaking to you. And the lower self will start rationalizing disobedience to God.
That's right.
And telling you that it's all right.
That's right.
I got a job, so I get down there.
What would you do?
Been off work, but I got a job. You know. You and the Lord know. You know, so I say to myself, Turn out, you got to step it. Islam, I'm not going to do a lot of speaking right now. I'm going to call my first speaker, brother, no, I'm going to say Sheik T. Johnson.
Islam. Who made you?
It's Allah.
Who is Allah?
Allah of the universe.
Allah is the Father of the universe. The obedience of children towards their Father. First and foremost, I rise, giving all perfect praise to your God, my God, the great God of the universe, the Almighty, incomprehensible, Allah, the causeless cause, the rootless root, from which all things have sprung from. Islam.
Islam.
What chapter is that, brother?
Chapter 24. I give honor to his love thought, born in the state of North Carolina, 1886. Prophet then, prophet still, and always will be the Moorish American prophet, the only Moorish American prophet, as we know thus far, the prophet Noble Drew Ali. I give honor to the forerunner of the prophet, Prophet Marcus Mosiah Garvey, who said, up, up, you mighty nation. And I repeat, up, up, you mighty nation, and accomplish what you will. What you will. And act your will and you can accomplish anything. One aim, and our aim got to be correct. One destiny, we got to reach that point. We got to understand where we're trying to go. And one God, whom we choose to refer to, as we know that the great Creator had many names, but we choose to refer to the great Creator as Allah. One aim, one destiny, one God, as said by Brother Marcus Mosiah Garvey. I give honor to all the Moorish Americans throughout the United States, Canada, and afar. And when I say Canada, that's America too. I give honor to all these Moorish Americans that is really working towards unifying the Moorish Science Temple of America, unifying the Moorish National and Divine Movement, and trying to weed out the stuff that we don't need. I give honor to all these Moors. I give honor to everything that the chairman, Grand Sheikh, that the Grand Sheikh and chairman of Supporting Temple number 13 give honor to. I definitely give honor to all those who came out tonight to hear the truth about yourselves, because we know, as many of us, we could be somewhere else doing something else, as many of us are doing. But we chose to come to hear the teachings of the great prophet, Drew Ali. I like to declare my intentions as a custom on page 3. Know thyself and thy Father, God Allah. Know thyself and thy Father, God Allah. Obedience of children towards their father. Know thyself and thy Father, God Allah. Dear readers, do not falsely use these lessons. They are for good, peace, and happiness, and for all those that love Jesus. For all those that love justice. And we understand that in the Moorish Science Temple of America, that justice is at hand. So if you love justice, join the Moorish Science Temple of America. I'm going to start on with the chapter for the night, the obedience of children towards their father. Chapter 24 of our Moorish Holy Quran. Verse 1. From the secrets of Allah, let man learn wisdom and apply to himself the instruction they give. Let me say that if I say anything that does not rub you right, that may not seem to make any sense to you, that may seem that I done verged off from the teachings of the prophet, let that fall on me, Brother Sheikh T. Johnson Bey, and please don't apply that to the prophet or Allah. It's me. It's me. So go behind me and do some research and make sure that I'm right. Because man has a tendency, especially when we get into the teachers that have saved their life, we'll try to teach in a way, and sometimes we can verge off too. We try to teach in a way that can save others' lives, but in our passion, we can verge off. So if I do verge off, let that be on T. Johnson Bey. But as it goes, verse 1, from the secrets of Allah, let man learn wisdom and apply to himself the instruction they give. What jumps out to me about verse 1, from the secrets of Allah, the first thing I have to say is, what secret, Allah? See, we in the Moorish Science Temple of America, we tend to ask these questions because we know we have a Moorish questionnaire. Because we got to ask questions in order to get an answer. So, what secrets, Allah? From the secrets of Allah. And as I study the chapter, I come to see that the secrets is really not a secret because it's basically nature, but it's called a secret because we don't study nature. We let it pass by us every day.
No.
Every single day. So from the secrets of Allah, let man learn wisdom. How many times we just looked up at the clouds? How many times we just look up at the tree? How many times we laid back and contemplated our frame and tried to figure out how something came from a moist water type substance that turned into flesh and bone? From the secrets of Allah. How many times have we contemplated our frame and try to realize how, and try to wrap our mind around how something that came from a water type substance turned into eyeballs, turned into to vocal cords from the secrets of Allah. What secrets of Allah? How many times did we see or contemplate that Allah replicates and replicates and replicates man, plant, beast? How many times from the secrets of Allah? Let man learn wisdom. This is the way that you learn wisdom. From nature.
Islam.
Nature is untampered with.
Islam.
Almost everything on the face of the earth has been tampered with, and no matter what man do to nature, he cannot take it out of its natural existence.
Right.
Okay.
No matter what. Man will sit back and tell you that if you litter in the streets, and I'm not saying litter anything, but a man will tell you if you litter in the streets, oh, you ruined the ecology, or you're ruining the planet. We know what comes out, go back in. They say it's not biodegradable. It came out of the earth, didn't it? It will go back in the earth. I say all that to say these are the secrets of Allah that you must pay attention to. And the only reason it's a secret because we're not paying attention. That's it. So we have to learn wisdom. The prophet teaches us, he said, and apply to himself the instruction they give. Go to the desert, my son. The secrets of Allah. What's in the desert? It seems like nothing going on in the desert. Something going on in the desert. You have to go to this desert. You have to go to that quiet place. You got to go to that place where nothing seems to be happening. And you got to meditate. You have to contemplate thy frame. And learn the secrets of Allah. How many times we do that? How many times we shut the noise off? How many times do we do this? We need to learn the secrets of Allah in order to get to that next place.
Yes.
Where the prophet is trying to take us to.
That's right.
See, this is the true wisdom. It goes on to say, observe the young stork of the wilderness. There we go again. In the wilderness. Nature. I think y'all get my point. That if we really want to learn how God works, how Allah works, just observe nature.
Go in nature. Yeah.
Observe nature. Observe yourself. Study thyself. Know thyself. Goes on to say, and I'm going to drop down to, it said, verse 5. It said, hear the words of his mouth. Now what I'm speaking of, who is Allah? He's the Father of the universe. Now this chapter, because I understand it to a degree that we're talking about, most likely, your earthly father within the body of the chapter. The reason why I say that, and I'm going to just throw this out there, the reason why I say that, because every time it's mentioned father, we got a lowercase f in there. So I have to conclude that we're talking about the earthly father. But I don't want to talk about the earthly father right now. I want to talk about obedience to Allah. Who is Allah, the Father of the universe? So it said, hear the words of his mouth, for they are spoken for thy good. How do we hear Allah? We must be still. We must be still. How many times we slow our ears down to be still? This is Johnson Bay talking, the hyper brother, the brother that keep it moving.
Yeah.
But sometimes, more times than you would think, I have to slow the ethers down so I can hear what Allah is saying in the still small voice. And this is how you become successful. This is how you get the wisdom to make the right choices in life. Because every choice matters. So as it says in verse 5, hear the words of his mouth, for they are spoken for thy good. If you don't slow down your ethers, if you don't pay attention to nature, you won't even know what the Lord is saying to you. And he's talking to you every minute of the day. Every minute of the day. He's speaking in that still small voice in your heart every minute of the day. But if you can't slow down, if you got all these distractions, you cannot be obedient to Allah. Because you got too much clutter going on. Too much racket going on. You know, and see, this is the ultimate goal. When we can hear the voice of Allah and we can follow it to a T, and we will be successful. You don't have no problems at that point because Allah has went before you and prepared your way.
Islam.
And by the teachings of the Prophet Noble Drew Ali, who is our spiritual father, has went before us by the will of Allah and prepared the way. All we got to do is study it and follow it. We can't go wrong.
Islam.
I don't care what you want in life. If you follow this, you cannot go wrong.
Islam.
See, sometimes we follow it, but we don't follow it to a letter, to the T. We want to put that little twist to it.
Islam.
And then wonder why it's not working.
Islam.
Well, it's not going to work. If you go to the pharmaceuticals and you got a headache and they say you need to take this prescription right here, and you say, well, you know what? It might be too strong. Let me break it down. It might don't have the same fact.
Islam.
It might not have the same fact.
Islam.
So the point of the matter is, verse 5 said, hear the words of his mouth, for they are spoken for thy good. Give ear to his admonition, for they proceed from love. When you think that wow, man, I messed up. When you find yourself broke up, beat down, and life is crashing in on you. Verse 5. Verse 5. Give ear to his admonition, for they proceed out of love. Are you able to take the wisdom out of that? When it seems like nothing is going your way? When it seems like your job beating you down? When it seems like your bill about to get shut off? When it seems like this is happening, that is happening? Are you able to receive it? Are you even ready to receive it? Because if you're ready to receive it, and then you can receive it, you are able to go to the next level. And on the other side is where the blessing is. That's why struggle is ordained. Because once you get through the struggle, on the other side is where the blessing is.
Islam.
And I want to leave y'all as I came. I love you more. I love all my people. And I just pray that we study these divine lessons and apply them to our life and become successful in all aspects of life. Islam. Islam.
Islam. And to thank our brother, G.T. Johnson Bay, for sharing with us what Allah has blessed him with. And you know, it's beautiful. One of the things, the brother emphasized time and again is paying attention. If we look in the Holy Quran, the more signs of book of America, give me a moment, bear with me. I want to find a verse that speaks to, in chapter 43, holy instructions from the prophet, the insufficiency of knowledge. And it's not strange, as I was listening to the brother, and he was talking about our lack of paying attention, our lack of being aware of our surroundings and what is going on. Islam. Our lack of paying attention and being aware of what is going on around us makes us fall short of our goals, makes us fall short of us being the best that we can be. Now the prophet says this in the chapter, insufficiency of knowledge. Verse 17. The way to her is labor. Attention. Attention. Attention is the pilot that must conduct thee into her port. But weary not on the way, when art arrived at her, the toil shall be to thee for pleasure. So this speaks to two things that you were talking about, more. One, the attention, paying attention, because we're talking about arriving at the knowledge of truth. If you didn't know what it was saying in that verse, it was talking about arriving at the knowledge of truth. How we arrive at the knowledge of truth. We have to pay attention to what's going on around us, and we must labor as you were saying, in the labor, in the toil, we're going to go through some things.
Islam.
You can't avoid that.
Islam.
If it all comes easy, something is wrong with it. Trust me,
Yes.
something is wrong with it.
Yeah.
You may have missed the mark
Islam.
because we have to labor for this.
That's right.
Islam.
You have to, anything that is worthy of us having must be labored for. For those of us who know, see, 'cause we got some experiences around here. See, some things we can speak on from experience, right? You know, some things we can learn from reasoning.
Islam.
Okay? So for those of us who have some experience that maybe some others may not have, learn from the experience and use your reasoning. See, some of us have tried to obtain this peace and happiness in life through taking shortcuts.
Islam.
Right?
Yeah.
And as a result, we have suffered unnecessarily. Because see, we will reap unnecessary pain and suffering on ourselves.
That's right.
See, in the honest effort, in the honest toil towards peace and happiness in life, naturally is there going to come resistance, because we're dealing with a dual nature.
That's right.
Natural resistance, natural ups and downs. But we'll add on to it by trying to get it easy.
Islam.
Creating a condition for ourselves that make it almost impossible to arrive at that knowledge of truth. Because we're trying to take the shortcut or go through the back door. There is no shortcut. There is no back door. When we look on the front of the Holy Quran, the Moor sign to America, I always like to say this about that symbol. That is each one of us standing on that straight and narrow path. You have to travel that straight and narrow path. And every time, from experience, every time we go too far this way or go too far that way, we create a condition of hell for ourselves.
That's right.
The prophet told us that, to seek to look for heaven in the sky, and all he told us that the heaven is not in the ground, the heaven and earth are not around, but below, but where? And we create the condition.
Islam.
Because the very essence of us is Allah.
That's right. That's right.
All praise be to Allah. I want to call my next speaker, our brother, our acting chairman, Brother N. Chambers. Islam?
Islam.
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 Islam?
Islam.
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 Once again, I rise and praise Allah, the author, the creator, the government world, almighty, eternal, incomprehensible, the master of the day of judgment, the creator of all the world, seen and unseen. Give honor to his holy round prophet, the days off and high. Remember your name and Allah's blessings forever be upon him. I'd like to also give a special honor to the former prophet, Brother Marcus Muzagabi, who said what a man is done, a man can do. Up you mighty race, you can accomplish what you will, one God, one name, one destiny. I give honor to the first Supreme Grand Sheikh of the Moor South America, Brother E. Miliel, our present Supreme Grand Sheikh of Moor South America, Brother D. Belial. I give honor to everyone that our Grand Sheikh and our chairman for this evening gave honor to. Last but not least, I'll give my honor to each and every one of you, because in honoring you, I honor my father, your father, God Allah. Islam?
Islam.
I too like to use place to declare my intentions. Know thyself and thy father, God Allah. Dear readers, not false to use these lessons. They are for good, peace, and happiness for all those that love Jesus. Dear mothers, teach these lessons to your little ones that they may learn to love instead of hate. Dear fathers, by these lessons you can set your house in order and your children learn to love instead of to hate. I'd like to now turn to this week's chapter, ask the Grand Sheikh and acting chairman for the night, read to us, that being chapter 24. The obedience of children toward their father. From the 6th of Allah, let man learn wisdom and apply to himself the instruction they get. Go to the desert, my son. Observe the young stork of the wilderness. Let him speak to thy heart. He beareth on his wings his age silent. He lodgeth him in safety and supplieth him with food. It's on?
It's on.
Having read that, I want to speak on that as well as touch on a very momentous occasion this evening.
Lord.
And of course, that being the return of our brother and friend,
Lord.
Brother Al Thomas Bey.
Lord.
And when I think about what the Lord had gone through, over the years, how long he's behind the wall over the years, and the strong faith that he has, it just reinforces and validates and reconfirms for myself as well as for you all
Lord.
the power of truth. I read somewhere where one writer said that one man with God is always in the majority. And we all hold that to be true. Because we know that when we maintain and we have our faith in Allah, He will make a way where there seems to be no way. That is His promise to each and every one of us.
Lord.
And I've seen this in my own personal life, and I've seen this in the lives of many brothers and friends whom I hold dear. And it reinforces for me that Allah's promise is forever true, and that no matter how long the night, daylight is sure to come, and that in every difficulty, as the Holy Quran of Mecca says, in every difficulty there is relief. And as our ancestors used to say, that the greatest darkness appears just before the crack of dawn. And so indeed, my heart is joyous because, it just lets me know the great mission that we have. And Allah, indeed, He's the master planner. And He's putting together all these different pieces, all these different brothers, these different sisters that's coming together so we can do this great work, and so that what Prophet Muhammad Ali said on the front of the Lord's question, that the great meeting is on.
That's right.
So indeed, the great meeting is on.
It's on.
And I know that we're going to do some great works in this temple.
It's Lord.
In fact, we're already doing some great works in this temple. And we're going to do greater works in this temple. Because we have the brothers and the sisters with us that have the faith.
Lord.
See? The old saying goes, say, doubt. Faith can worship at the shrine of the unseen. But doubt must see his God. That Martin Luther King Jr., he once said that faith is taking the first step when you cannot see the whole staircase. That is the faith that we have.
Oh, yes.
That is the faith that has carried us through. That is the faith that has given us the strength and the courage to dare and do wondrous things. And we're going to do even greater. We have always been a very spiritual, religious people. You cannot look in our people's history and find that we were a godless, pagan, heathen people. Yahweh, Allah, God has always dwelled in our tents. Always. And so, you have people today that would say, religion kind of make people kind of soft, or as the Marxist Lenin say, it's the opiate of the people. It numbs people to the realities of their existence. We say, no. Religion, it makes you strong. Religion, it makes you wise. Religion, it gives you hope. Religion, it gives you all those blessings, the sweet blessings that life has to offer, because now, through religion, we can really appreciate those things that at one time in our lives, we may not have been able to appreciate. And you can look at our history, and I'm talking about all of our great leaders, without exception, have been deeply religious. Imhotep the Wise, that actually built the first step pyramid that became the model for the 3 pyramids of Giza.
That's right, Mom.
Pharaoh Akhenaten. Now, he wasn't the first to introduce, Europeans say he was the first to introduce monotheism to the world. He wasn't the first to introduce monotheism, but he reintroduced monotheism in that particular area of the world.
Islam.
In fact, Pharaoh Akhenaten was actually the teacher of Moses. Moses' teacher. You look at all of our great leaders, without exception, have been deeply spiritual, deeply religious, and it's that kind of religiosity that gave them the courage and the strength to say and do things that would have made other men tremble in their boots. So we say to Moses Rocket name, religion does not numb you to the realities of life. Religion does not make you soft. It does not make you weak. Religion makes you strong. Religion makes you resolute.
That's right.
That's what religion does. And in this chapter, talking about the obedience of children toward their father, Prophet Noble Ali has given us a great blessing in this chapter. We're going to look at this chapter. I've heard some Moors interpret this chapter as being Prophet Noble Ali being the father, or Allah being the father. What? And we can very well, gather that from this chapter, but with certain limitations. But what the prophet is actually talking about here is the relation that we should have and the gratitude that we should have for our biological fathers. Now, why was this important? Remember our Prophet Noble Ali, he says on the front page, the Moorish Quran, on the front cover, he says that this book that constitutes part of our hierarchy. Hierarchy means the sacred literature of a people. He says that this book was divinely prepared by him. In other words, prepared by God. Because the Holy Quran of Mecca says, prophets they do not speak and they do not act until Allah first speaks and acts. And according to his will, they obey. So when Prophet Muhammad Ali gave us this chapter, and we said, why would he give us this chapter? Let us reflect back the transatlantic slave trade.
Come on, Mo.
Let us reflect back the institution of slavery. Let us reflect back Jim Crowism. Let us reflect back segregation, systemic segregation. How the families were broken apart. How many of our fathers that may have wanted to do the right thing, but could not find the legitimate means with which to do the right thing, and rather than going to the family every day having to face the shame and humiliation of not being able to provide for their families like men, they just simply pack their bags and roll out. Now, I'm not trying to justify that conduct, but I'm saying that conduct, it demands some understanding.
Islam.
In a society where, all the connotations of what it means to be a man. One of them being a provider.
Islam.
What happens when a man has no legitimate channel to provide for his family? Prophet Ali lets us know, even in a situation like this, the prophet says, and I quote, he says, be grateful to thy father, for he gave thee life.
Right.
And to thy mother, for she sustained thee.
That's right.
So what the prophets tell us here, even if your father, like the temptation say, was a rolling stone, he dropped his hat where he left his home, or however that word goes. You know the song. Talking about the rolling stone.
Yes.
Wherever he left his hat was his home.
Yeah.
Even if he was that.
Islam.
Or your mama was a streetwalker.
Islam.
The prophet says, the very fact that we are here is enough for us to give them gratitude.
That's right.
Because the fact of the matter is, whatever condition was in the house, our mothers didn't abort us.
Islam.
We are here.
Islam.
So praise Allah for that.
Islam.
So the prophet here, what he, all throughout our Moorish Quran was, what the prophet does, he unites the family. That's why on page 3, he says, and I read it to you, he says, dear mothers, teach these lessons to your little ones. Now we know that the hand that rocks the cradle rules the world. We know that the first teacher of the child is always that mother.
That's right.
Always.
That's right.
In all societies.
That's right.
At all times. Then he says, dear fathers, by these lessons you can set your house in order. In other words, when the prophet says set your house in order, he's saying that the father is the one who provides structure.
That's right.
He provides the framework.
Islam.
He provides the context. He provides the matrix within which everything evolves. See? And if the father does not do his job for whatever reason, it makes the mother's job all the more difficult.
Islam.
Not saying that she can't do that,
Islam.
because we know that there's some sisters amongst us. Indeed, there was a superwoman, you know what I'm saying? She would look like one of our sisters. She would look like one of our sisters.
That's right, Walt.
See? So we don't have to go to Good Housekeeping, you know what I'm saying, and read what they have to say about, you know what I'm saying, about rearing children. We don't have to go, you know what I'm saying, to all them other crazy magazines to ask Martha Stewart, how you raise children. We ain't got to go to heaven.
That's right.
Only we got to do is ask Miss Murray around the corner.
That's right,
Ask Miss
Walt.
Johnson down the street. Ask Sister Wildell, who raised 6 sons.
That's right.
Islam.
These are the experts in child rearing. 6 successful sons, I might add.
Islam.
These are the examples of effective, expert child rearing. So we don't have to ask Martha Stewart anything. She need to ask our sisters things. And that's the truth of the matter. So the Prophet Ali tells us, you know, in this chapter, and in chapters like this, how to raise a family. Because the family is the nucleus. If the family is together, I'm talking about the nuclear family is together. From that, the neighborhood,
Yep.
the community becomes structured, becomes more progressive, becomes more enlightened, if you will. And then from that, the nation state is developed. And it too becomes more enlightened, more progressive, more edified. And then from that, of course, the country. And then from that, of course, the entire world. But it begins with that family. And that's why Prophet Ali Acts 7 bound Constitution bound. Again, he's speaking to the father, the mother, and the children, because we all have duties, obligations, roles to perform. Chapter 25 of our Moorish Quran, a holy covenant of the ancient nation. In other words, the prophet there is addressing the entire nation.
That's right.
But he also lets us know that that nation evolves from the family. So the prophet beckons us to do more is become more attentive to family, become more responsive to family, and responsible, become more committed, reliable, dependable. Stand up, the prophet is telling us here, and be men. Stand up and be a father. And even if you don't have any biological children, the prophet is telling us here, then become the surrogate father in your community and your
That's right,
neighborhood.
Walt. Son.
Because that's how it was in ancient Africa. Prophet Ali said, we got to go back in Moore's literature. He says, go back to that state of mind, to your forefathers' ancient divine creed. And how was that state of mind? And again, ancient Africa, 500, 600, 700 years ago, you go into the village and say, young boy, who is your father? He will point to all of the older men in the village or the village state and said, they're all my fathers. Young sister, who is your mother? She would point to all the older women in the village or the village state and say, they're all my mothers.
That's right.
And that's where the adage come from. It takes a village. It takes a village to raise a child. So what we have to do more, brothers and sisters, is grab back the steering wheel. Because somehow or another, we have lost the facility of how to rear and raise children. We got to get back to that. There's too many Muslim fathers that are MIA, missing in action. And what Prophet Ali does throughout the literature, and what we do and foster in this temple, is exactly that. We try to present an image of good family, an image of the importance of good family. Because again, from that, everything else evolves and springs. So, in closing, Moors, let me say, it's a blessing to see your beautiful and handsome faces tonight. It's always a pleasure to attend Holy Day service and the fellowship, because this is what we do. This is what you call fellowship. You know what I'm saying? To fellowship with one another and to share, to break bread. I'm talking about spiritual bread with one another. Because what we are dispensing here and what we are serving here, this is the real soul food. I'm talking about, man, some morsels for your soul. Food for your soul. Because so many things, man, tend to pull and push us during the course of the week, man. We need Holy Day service to do what? To fuel up. See?
That's right.
To fuel up, to carry us through the rest of the week, so we can be strong and attentive and use His hand, which is a miracle, in the assistance of our brother and sister. So, hope something was said tonight that made you think, and more importantly, will make you act. I leave you as I came in Islam in peace. Islam.
Islam. I need to thank our brother. Thanks for coming.
Thanks for coming, brothers.
I like to thank our brother, our acting chairman, brother N. James Zell, for sharing with us what a large brother blessed him with. And as I was sitting there listening, I'm hearing a reoccurring theme as to what the Prophet Noble Drew Ali brought us and the purpose for what he brought it to us for, the building of a nation.
Indeed.
It's all about the building of a nation. Those things that are required, are necessary for us to build this nation.
Sure.
A nation that had been destroyed. So the Prophet Noble Drew Ali is building this nation, and it's based upon these principles, these ancient principles of our ancient forefathers, reconnecting us back to the principles of our forefathers. You know, connecting us back to those things that have brought, created the greatness of empires of the past. And when the Prophet Noble Drew Ali said that we will do it again. He said that we will feed the world. The brother was talking about the soul food.
That's right.
That we will feed the world. But this time we will feed the world love.
That's right.
Because that's the only savior of the world.
That's right.
So now we reflect that love, and we begin with who? With self.
Islam.
We learn how to love ourselves, because we have been harsh on ourselves.
Yes,
we have accepted some things into ourselves. We have been so distracted by things foreign to ourselves that we have destroyed ourselves. So now we begin to start to learn to love ourselves instead of hate ourselves. The more that we love ourselves instead of hate ourselves, the more we will begin to love one another.
Exactly. Yes.
We can't skip that step.
That's right.
If we skip that step and we saying that we love somebody else but we are still hating on ourselves, then it's not true.
That's right.
Son.
It's a conditional love. It's based upon the condition that whatever it may be, as long as we all right, as long as you do what I want you to do, as long as you shake your head when I want you to shake your head, as long as all these things happen, then I love you.
That's right.
Islam. If I remember that, I want to call our next speaker, our Supreme Grand Security Advisor, Brother J. Vaughn Space.
Islam. Islam.
Islam.
Islam.
Islam.
Out of Morrisville.
More feel great. More feel great.
Don't sound right.
Praise
Islam.
God.
Feel great.
Sound. Out of Morrisville.
Feel great.
Islam.
Islam sound a little better.
Islam, my brother.
Having already risen, praise the Lord. Who is the Father of everything that ever was, is, or ever more to be. Giving honor to his noblest thought, Prophet Noble Drew Ali, who was noble then and noble still, who came here to save us, the downtrodden, the sinners, the wrongdoers, the stubborn, hard-headed, Asiatics, North America. He was the first to teach Islam in North America. He was the first to establish an organization in North America teaching Islam. I give honor to Marcus Garvey, one who came before him to pave the way, to place the mindset in the right mold so that people could receive the message in the right way that the Prophet Noble Drew Ali came. You have to give honor to him, Marcus Garvey, because can you imagine what he had to go through
Islam.
as the trailblazer
Yes.
of our people?
Islam.
Yeah, he had a job on his hands. So he definitely had to have that high tolerance. He had to be able to understand the various personalities that he encountered in the 20s. So I give honor to him. I give honor to our first Supreme Grand Sheik, Brother Emiziel. I give honor to our present Supreme Grand Sheik, Brother D. Bailey. I give honor to our Supreme Grand Governor, Brother R. Edwards-Hill. I give honor to our Supreme Historian, Brother D. Eddington-Hill. I give honor to my Grand Sheik, Brother G. Turner-Hill, and to his assistant, Sister M. Brown Bay. I give honor to the chairman, Brother Chambers-Hill, N. Chambers-Hill. I give honor to our security, Brother K. Cunningham-Hill. I give honor to our treasurer, Brother T. Johnson Bay. And I give a special honor to y'all.
Islam.
See? Because like the brother said, you could have been someplace else doing something else. But yet, you made the choice, you made the decision, you made the sacrifice to come and hear the words of the Prophet Noble Drew Ali. So therefore, you have to have a special honor from me to you. Islam.
Islam.
As it is custom that we declare our intentions from page 3. It says, dear reader, do not pause to use these lessons. Therefore, all those that love Jesus. Why? You would ask yourself, what the prophet bring about Jesus? You know, it's a question that most people won't ask themselves. Jesus was one of the main characters or one of the main tools that they used to enslave us.
Islam.
So the prophet had to come and he had to pull the veil off of Jesus. He had to give us the truth as it is to show that Jesus wasn't no European with blue eyes, blonde hair.
Islam.
He had to do that before we could even understand.
Yes.
It's genetically impossible
Islam.
for Jesus to be a European
That's right.
born over there in Bethlehem.
Islam.
Every claim was ours.
Okay? See, but you have to understand the psychology of it. Because they made him look like them to give them that superior thought that make us feel like we have to be like them, have to imitate them in order to be right. But that wasn't the case. See? That was all part of the scheme of things. To keep us hoodwinked. To keep us blind. To make us feel like we was nothing.
Islam.
You know? But if you understand,
Yes.
like I say, go back to that state of mind of our forefathers, ancient and divine. Imagine what our people had back then. They was able at that time to be able to say that the earth was 196,940,000 square miles. This is back then. They was able to teach these lessons to us.
Islam.
See? It say that the earth, the land of earth, was 57,255,000 miles of land. And the water mass at that time,
Islam.
see, was 139,685,000 miles of water mass. This is what our people was able to accomplish back then. So if we begin to understand, as it say, according to this chapter, you know, if we obey our Father, in this context, I'm talking about Prophet Noble Drew Ali. If we obey him, just imagine how dynamic we could be.
Islam.
How creative we could be.
That's right, Mo. That's right.
How visionary we could be, because the prophet was a visionary. He seen things ahead. He prophesied back in the 20s. As I said before, when he said, in this electrified age, men are racing into life without complete knowledge of where they're going and what the end will be. That was in the 20s.
That's right.
And we in this electrified age today.
We are, Mo.
Huh? We here.
That's right. We got
That's right.
Tell them about it more.
His prophecy has come to life. His prophecy has come to reality. He said that a time will come right? When it be that a little child will come out there and say, Mommy, I just seen a mole.
That's right.
Start to look around there, you start seeing more and more. You start seeing the red face, you start seeing the cookie, you start seeing the sisters in the turban and the guards.
That's
It's
right.
that time now. See? That we have to start demonstrating who we are.
Indeed.
So you can't call me yo, because I don't answer to yo.
It's on, it's on.
Now the moment that I answer to yo, then I become yo.
That's right.
See? So we have to let people know who we are. And by that I mean your character. When Jesus sat in the chair, how did they recognize Jesus? They recognized Jesus by his character, his
That's right.
principles, his attitude, his values.
That's right.
That's how they recognized him when he sat in the chair.
It's on, that's right.
See? That's how it had to be with us when we walk the street.
That's right.
See? They have to recognize we
That's right, more.
are the most American mouth. We are the originators. We don't have nothing on our face.
Tell him
We
again.
don't have to have nothing on our face. Those that got something on their face have to be recognized. That's why they put it on there.
And they tied down.
That's right, Mo. You got it. See? But we don't. See? Ain't nothing on it.
That's right.
And they know who we are. More so than a lot of us. No.
Come on.
We are the originators.
That's right. Indeed we are.
That's who we are.
That's right.
That's
See, and if we begin to realize the power and the respect that we have as a Moorish American Muslim, ain't nothing we can't do.
That's right.
That's right.
Ain't nothing we can't do. Even with the playing field that they give us today, we still manage to come out on top.
That's right.
And that playing field is lopsided for real.
Sure it is.
You know what I'm saying? You know, we come out on top. Now imagine if we had a level playing field, where would we be at then?
No doubt.
What would we be able to achieve then?
No doubt.
Everybody say, y'all go to jail, y'all come back with this jailhouse religion, right? Well, let's examine all other religions.
Islam.
Saying, look at it. What they call it, the Pope, whatever he is, right? They constantly trying to hide this, what they call it, child abuse. Saying,
That's the clean name.
you know,
Yeah.
they just spent millions and millions and millions of dollars because they messing with these little boys.
Come on.
See, we got to tell the truth regardless of how it hurt, because that's our mission. We stand on truth because that's our principle. The Christians, what they doing? They stealing money. Every time you talk, turn around, they stealing. And they ask to bag our people. They got our people hoodwinked to give up their rent money, gas and electric money. You know, come to church and we got this cross that we bless, but it only donates to $26, and you'll receive this blessing next week. You know, see, we had to be like Jesus did to run those money changers out the temple. See, we had to stand on those things we said. Now, a lot of us say that we're willing to die for this. Be careful what you say.
Yeah.
Islam.
Be careful what you say, because you may have to die for it, for real. See, that's why we had to know where we at on the page, that we had to all be on the same page. Because if something occur, I don't want to have to look around and see if you're there. I want to know you there. That's because we got the same mindset for the prophet and the movement. We're willing to sacrifice all of that. See, for so long, we have been doing a lot of talking.
That's right.
For so long.
Time to do a little walking now, bro.
True that.
For so long, we've been dancing in the street.
True that.
See? It's time for that to stop.
Islam.
It's time for some action now.
That's right.
Let our words, let our action,
Yes.
and our mannerism begin to demonstrate who we are.
It's on.
That's
Let
right.
it be known when people see us, right, in Temple 13, that they're looking at the true son and faithful student of Prophet Noble Gerard.
That's right, Mo. Islam.
That's what we have to
It's
do.
on.
Now, we ain't bashing nobody. We just talking about us, how we want things to be for us here in Temple 13. See, because if we become that role model, then the rest of them going to fall in.
Sure.
That's all. We ain't talking about doing nothing extraordinary, but being what? Ourselves.
That's right, Mo.
We need a path.
That's all we got to do is be ourselves.
That's right, Mom.
Do you know how hard it is when you put on that image trying to be that which you're not? Opposed to being that which you is? It's hard.
That's right.
Yes, it is.
I like to say that it's time now we're getting old. You know, we don't have no whole lot of time to be
Some of us
stuck in
won't.
jobs.
Some of us getting old.
Some of us won't. Yeah, I got you.
Yeah.
You know, we don't have that kind of time now. We have to be serious, and we have to start making things work the way
That's
the
right.
prophet said.
That's right.
It's on.
Praise the Lord.
It's on.
Islam.
Islam.
All praise be to Allah. I'd like to thank our Supreme Grand Security Advisor for sharing with us what Allah has blessed him with. As I was listening to our brother speak, in my mind I kept hearing the words of our prophet. Love instead of hate.
It's on.
You know, I kept hearing those words about prophet, and I always asked myself, you know, especially when I first joined the Moore Science of America, you know, because I had a misconception of love.
Islam.
Right? I had a distorted conception of love.
Yeah.
So as time went on, as I began to look at the teachings of the Prophet Noble Drew Ali, and he taught me who Jesus really was. Right? See, because it's really about sharing the truth.
That's right.
You know, and letting our people make a decision for themselves.
Islam.
See, if we share the truth, and then we begin to become the truth,
That's right.
then they will come into the light.
That's right.
Without a doubt.
That's
See, they're not going to come into the light with us just sharing the truth.
yes.
That's right.
Because as I begin to look at what the Prophet Noble Drew Ali was teaching me about Jesus, he said the only Savior of the world, and he told me that heaven and earth and hell not around, but below, but
That's right.
in. So I started to make a
That's right.
correlation between
That's
the two and understand that I need to learn to love myself, as I said before, and it will emanate to other people.
That's right.
Sure, bro.
And I will be more compassionate towards my brother and my sister and understand where they are at.
That's right.
See, and understanding is in my behavior and how I act that will draw them to our prophet. That's why the prophet said, imitate our prophet.
Right.
See, the prophet drew people unto him by being the message that he brought,
That's right.
That's right.
That's right.
showing that divine love.
Islam.
So the people came to him because they were drawn by it. That's what the prophet said, and imitate the prophet. So we got to study. We got to study. We have to study some more to find out what the prophet was really about.
That's right.
See, because understand this, prior to the prophet Noble Drew Ali, there were no more American.
That's right. There you go. There you go.
He
That's
created this nation. So
you go.
where did they come from?
That's
There
right.
you go.
Huh?
That's right.
They was in them places that we talk about. Yeah, but it was his love for his people that made him stop and turn and say that maybe this is the right way. Let me listen for a minute.
That's right, yeah.
Because he showed that divine love.
That's right.
That's all. Pay attention. Islam, all praise be to Allah.
That's right, Bo.
Without further ado, I want to call out last speaker for this evening, our Supreme Grand Governor, Brother R. Evans Hill. Islam.
Islam. Islam.
Having already risen my thoughts in prayer, acknowledging his greatness. I like to praise Allah, that great and universal God
Yeah.
that caused this cause, that root this root, from which all things have arose. I like to extend honor, and we should never forget to extend honor to his holy and illustrious prophet, Noble Drew Ali,
Islam.
That's right.
born January 8th, 1886, in the state of North Carolina. I like to extend honor to the prophet's forerunner, Honorable Marcus Mosiah Garvey, who said, up, up, you mighty race, and accomplish what you will. What a man has done, extend honor to our first Supreme Grand Chief,
Yeah.
Brother Edward Mealy Hill, and to our present Supreme Grand Chief, Brother D. Bell Hill. I extend honor to the Supreme Grand Council, the Grand Body, to all officials throughout the nation, to our council members here at Temple 13, Brother D. Eddington Hill, Supreme Grand Historian, Brother J. Barnes Bay, Supreme Grand Security Head. I extend honor to my assistant, Brother C. Davis Hill, who's the Assistant Grand Governor of Maryland, to my Grand Chief, Brother G. Turner Hill, and to his assistant, my sister,
Yes,
Sister Brown Bay,
Yes,
to our
sir.
treasurer, Brother T. Johnson Bay.
Islam.
I extend honor to our secretary, Brother R. Street Hill. I extend a special honor to my friend, our chairman. You know, now, in truth, all of the brothers and sisters in the temple are my friends,
That's right.
but each one of them has something special.
Islam.
Islam.
Means something special to me.
That's right.
So I extend honor to them. How could I forget my brother on the door,
Islam.
K. Cunningham Hill.
Islam.
He's always on post.
Islam.
That's right.
See him, he probably the sharpest brother.
That's right.
Islam.
So I extend
There
a
you go.
special honor to him.
Islam.
Islam.
I look around, I see many faces, many friends.
Yes, Islam.
Brothers C. Robson Bay,
Islam.
Brother R. Wimley, they're my friends too. Brother W. Mariel out there, Brother
Yes,
Simpson Bay, of course all the sisters.
Islam.
I looked around. Eyes been kind of cloudy. Looked around, I see a new face.
It's
Islam.
I see a new face.
It's a clear vision, boy.
Praise the
No.
Lord, praise the Lord.
And when I seen that face
Islam.
tonight, see, 'cause I'm already pumped up.
Praise the Lord.
You know, I was back there, Brother Chambers there, and I think I was telling the grand chief I keep finding tear drops and stuff in my eyes. You know,
It's just a cleansing, boy.
it's truly a joy.
Yes, it
That's
is.
right. It's truly a joy.
Yes, it is.
To
Praise
see
be
all
to
of
Allah.
us.
Yes,
right.
praise be to Allah.
Islam.
Yes.
The journey has been long,
Yes, praise be to Allah.
but Allah's hand never changed.
That's
right.
And as long as we held on and stayed faithful, He guided us safely home.
That's
right.
Islam.
I like to declare my intentions according to page 3, so that any mistakes are made, they don't know how to speak, not the prophet's decision, surely not Allah, for Allah is perfect. From page 3 I quote, dear readers, do not falsely use these lessons. They are for good, peace, and happiness.
That's right.
All those that love Jesus.
There you go.
I'd like to read from tonight's chapter. The obedience of children towards their father. From the secrets of Allah, let man learn wisdom and apply to himself the instructions they give. I want to stop there first because there's something that I got to do.
Islam.
You know, I like to take a moment to send out a prayer.
Islam.
I like to send a prayer to Brother S. Williams Bay's mother,
Islam.
who is my understanding
Islam.
is sick.
Yes,
Islam.
Islam.
I like to send a prayer out to Brother Olin Fisher Bay's wife, who's still in the hospital.
Islam.
Still is.
Islam.
You know, I want to extend a prayer to Brother Cunningham Hill's queen. And
Islam.
forgive me for not remembering the sister's name.
Islam.
But I want to send a prayer out.
Islam.
See, because oftentimes,
Yes.
you know, in the haste of the day,
Yes.
we forget things like this.
Islam.
We forget that these are our friends
Yes.
and that their family is really our family.
That's right. That's right.
In fact, we're going to have to find some time to start going out and
That's
seeing
right.
our family.
There you go.
Islam.
There you
See,
go.
when I look at this chapter here tonight, see, we have said it several times before that the prophet was building something.
Yes.
He started with the young man.
Yes, it did. Islam.
See, and he worked his way on.
Right.
Marriage instruction,
Yes.
husband,
Yes.
duties of a husband. See, the parent, look at what's happening.
Yes.
Now we're talking about obedience of children towards their fathers. See, there's a certain type of obedience you should have.
There you go.
There's a certain type of love you should have.
That's right.
for
That's
your
right.
parents.
That's right.
See, and this is what is being taught here.
That's right.
See, coming out of the institution of slavery, we lost the knowledge of all of this.
That's right.
We had to be taught again
Yes.
how to be men and women.
That's right. Oh, that's
And
right.
after teaching us how to be men and women, then he had to teach us to work together.
Yes.
See, when a man and woman come together, it's a unit.
That's right.
See, but the unit has to be able to work together. See, if that unit can work together, then as a child, which is the family, this is the smallest unit in the nation.
That's right.
See, it
That's right.
goes to build, because if you look at the next chapter, he said the Holy Covenant, or the Asiatic.
That's right.
He's showing you where it's going.
That's
That's
right.
right.
See, that's what these lessons are about.
Yes.
Getting us together.
Yes.
See, I
That's right,
know
Paul.
we want to go out and save the world.
Yes.
You know, I used to want to go out and save the world, but you can't go out and save the world if you don't have the proper tool.
That's
right.
See, the
That's right.
prophet gives
That's
us the
right.
proper
That's
tool
right.
so that we can do these things, so that
Yes.
we can develop our youth,
Yes.
our children.
That's
They're
right.
important. They're our future.
Yes.
That's right.
I was watching tonight, and you know, over the week we've been talking about different things that have occurred in the temple, around the temple, and things we should do better.
That's right.
So I was watching my sister, Al Sheikis, tonight. And she went to work on some of the lessons that we have been talking about. See, because when people come in your house, they don't always know how to come in.
That's right.
They might not know how to dress.
That's
There you
right.
go.
See, we can't sit in the chair and say, well, they don't know and I ain't gonna say nothing.
It's
That's
not.
right.
It don't work that way.
That's right.
We have
That's
to get
right.
up and tell our people.
Yes.
And
That's
see,
right.
it's not gonna make them uncomfortable if you come to them right and explain to them
No.
why
There you go.
you
That's
say
right, y'all.
that dress might be a little too short.
That's
No.
right, Mo.
You understand?
No.
Now you don't have to leave right now.
Yes.
We'll send somebody back here to get something to lay across you.
Right.
You understand? So when the next time
Right.
you come,
Right.
see, we got to do these things because if we don't inform them,
Yes.
then they continue to do what they've been doing.
That's
That's
right.
right.
See, they don't know how to dress
No.
no more than you did.
That's
Well, I
right.
did.
There you
It's
go.
not.
I know we think we slick.
That's right.
My buddy back there,
Yes.
Brother Barnes back.
Yes.
I think it was, I ain't gonna say how many y'all slick.
Don't let
But I
that
was
out.
looking.
Don't let that out.
Uh-huh.
I was looking. You know, I was looking. But as far as I can remember back, one of the things that the Moore always prided himself in is put this little weight on.
Yeah.
That's
You
right.
understand? And he thought he was sharp.
No.
See, but as we began to look at how we were putting on, we were mimicking somebody else.
That's right.
You understand? We had to have out. I don't mean no harm. Dirty, broke. You understand?
Yeah.
But go back and see why it's broke like that.
No.
You understand? But anyway, we thought, but now it's a new day.
That's right.
See, in truth, we're supposed to be moving away from the derby.
That's
We're
right.
derby.
It's not.
We're supposed to be moving away from that. Why? We're supposed to be developing our own culture.
That's right.
You understand? We wear some European stuff, we still wearing it. I know we like that stuff. But we're supposed to be developing our own
That's
tennis.
There
right.
you go.
Now I'm gonna say this here because I seen something on Facebook. When we start developing ours, we can't go crazy though.
That's right.
I seen them more and they had a pair of tennis shoes. They cost so much, they would definitely stay on the shelf. But I'm just saying, we have to begin to develop our own culture.
That's right. That's right. That's right.
That's what this is about.
That's right.
That's what it's about. When I look out there at the youth and they come by here and they look in, and I told y'all this last week, this is how they do, they look at you,
Yes.
they watch
Yes.
That's right. That's
you.
right,
You know?
Mo.
Now if you're saying one thing and doing something else,
Like
they
the
ain't paying
seat.
no mind. This
That's
is
right.
what you want.
That's right.
Keep walking on, that's what
No,
they'll
it's
take.
no. No.
See, I know this because I live in the tall grass. I don't live out in
Yeah,
the
that's
county.
right.
That's
That's
right.
I don't live in the county. You've been down to where I live in the tall grass.
It's no.
Down where them police executed them guys down.
That's right.
Right down the corner. That's where I live at. Down in there. This is how they measure. They watch.
That's right.
When they say,
See,
That's right.
now, if I look any way other than Moorish,
That's right.
one morning I come out, they might be on my steps and won't get off. See, but when I come to my door, they say, oh, Mo, how you feel?
It's no.
See, I want them to keep saying that.
That's
That's
right.
right.
That's
So I
right.
keep
That's right.
demonstrating the
That's
teachings
right.
of our
That's
prophet.
right. It's no.
Because my character is consistent, they will come and sit down on my step and talk to me.
It's no.
There you
See,
go.
and that's what you want to happen, because we have to be able to talk to our people.
There you go.
Talk to our children.
There you go.
I know we sit around and talk about, yeah, we're gonna uplift all see, but, you know, I travel.
Long.
I travel on foot. Because unlike many of my brothers, I ain't driving.
Yes, long.
But there's a blessing in that.
Yes, it's long.
See,
Yes.
you get close to your people when you
Yeah.
walk, when you got a Chevrolet, you know.
Uh-huh.
You get close to them.
Yes.
You can see what's going on.
Yes.
That's right.
See, when you're in the car, what you do is you leave your house, you come to the temple, and you go back home. You
No.
forget to stop along the way.
No.
You understand?
That's
All
right.
you gotta do is check your own record.
That's
No.
right.
You know whether or not you stopped from this temple and your house.
That's right.
No.
And if you didn't stop, that means you didn't talk to nobody along the way.
It's
There you
long.
go.
See, we gotta stop and we gotta be able to talk to our people.
Praise
Yes.
the Lord.
That's
Now,
right,
I'm
Mo.
gonna say this here. You know, y'all know I love this.
It's long.
You know, and y'all know. I love to talk about this.
It's long.
That's right, Mo.
That's right. We know.
This
It's
one,
long.
rightly so.
Right.
This one I'm gonna do now.
Right.
I'm gonna tell you about some